Hey everyone, it's me, BaNAuset, the naturopathic nurse for Kemetic Wellness Sacred Healing Center. Today I am doing a video that's a part of a series on my personal wellness journey. I have received a lot of messages from people asking me to share some of the things that I have struggled with in terms of my own wellness, and to be honest, that's actually what I wanted to accomplish with starting this YouTube channel. Is I wanted people to see how I was able to get through some of the challenges that I had when it comes to wellness, so that it would be an example for other people to be able to heal themselves as well. So today's video is it's one that I don't know where to start when it comes to sharing it, but I feel like it's very important. Today I'm going to be talking about overcoming emotional eating and disordered eating, which is something that I struggled with very early in my life into my 20s, and I want to share how I overcame it. So if you're interested, let's get started. So my issue with eating started when I was 11 years old. It was around that time when I started to become overweight. I was always a slimmer child, but not very skinny. I wasn't skinny, but I was slim. And it was around the age of 11 where I started to develop. And 11 was a very important age for me because I noticed that the other issues, which I'm going to talk about in the series, all started at age 11. I'm not exactly sure why that is. It may just be hormonal, because you know that's a preteen age, and that was the age that I started to begin developing. I went from being, you know, totally flat-chested to wearing double D's at 11 years old. So everything started to happen around that age, and that was the age that I started to put on weight as well. And for the first time ever, around 12 years old, 11 or 12 years old, I started to hear people refer to me as chubby. And who is chubby? I did not see myself that way, and I hated it. I did not like it. And so at that time I started trying to figure out how to lose weight. I didn't know anything really about nutrition or about fitness or wellness. You know, I was just a kid, and those things were not taught to me. So I started to do whatever I knew. Started trying to develop a workout regimen at home, which really wasn't that effective. You know, we were in the house a lot. My mother was a single mom, and she pretty much kept us locked up in the house a lot if we were not with her. And I say that jokingly, because she was, you know, she was a strict mom, but it was for our benefit. Based on where we lived. We did not live in a good neighborhood, so at the time that we wanted to go out and play with the other kids in the neighborhood, she was not having it. That was not going to happen. So we were in the house a lot, and you know, we ate a lot of junk food. When I say me, I'm talking about me and my sister. And I could eat. And to this day, I am known for putting down some food, okay? Putting away some food. I can really eat. And at the time, I was eating very unhealthy food. I would go to the store after school and get all of the junk food that I could, all of the candy, all of the little Debbie cakes, all of the now laters, you know, that's what we call them, now and laters, all the now laters, you know, every type of junk that you could think of. That's what I would eat. And of course, when I had an opportunity to go to McDonald's or any other fast food restaurant, I was so there. So I started to put on weight, and I didn't really know how to get rid of it. But what I started doing, my exercise regimen, was basically stretching. And I kind of think that's like a precursor to me being into yoga now today, but I didn't know it then. And that was my way of trying to get the weight off, which was not working. And around that time, I used to watch a lot of talk shows like the Jenny Jones show and the Ricky Lake show and Sally. And one of the things that was talked about a lot during that time was eating disorders like bulimia and anorexia. And unfortunately, because I didn't know a healthy way to get rid of the weight, I started learning from the girls that were on those shows. I started learning, okay, she basically stopped eating or starved herself to get rid of weight. It works. Or she started eating a lot and then purged her food to get rid of her weight. And that actually was something that I started to pick up, because I knew that I could not give up food. Listen, when I die, it will not be from hunger. That will never happen. I could not stop eating, and I knew that I liked food. I knew that I had to eat a lot, and it was emotional eating, but I knew that I did not want to put weight on. So I said, wow, this is the perfect way to get rid of it, eat a lot and then never have to deal with the calories. So at 11 years old, I did start binging and purging. And it was not something that I did every single day. It would be, more like when I noticed that I was not fitting in my clothes, or if I was putting on weight, then I would start doing it for maybe a few weeks or something like that. And when I was more comfortable with how I looked, I would stop. And I did that, I remember, up until the end of junior high school, when I started to look how I wanted to. So I was about 13 or so, and I was graduating from junior high school, and I started to have issues with getting dizzy, and I started to have issues with getting dizzy because I wasn't eating. So I wouldn't eat breakfast, and then I would go to lunch and I wouldn't eat lunch, and then I would come home and I would eat, and then I would purge afterwards. Now, by the time I was ready to graduate, I remember I still had such a hatred for my body, the way I looked. I had so many self-esteem issues that I couldn't find a dress that I liked. I couldn't find a dress that I wanted to wear for my graduation. So I had my mom have something custom made for me. And I remember being in the fabric shop, and my mother was, walking around, and I was a few paces behind her, and I just dropped in the store. I just fell and dropped. I fainted, and I remember hearing my mom scream, because she was so frightened, and the ambulance coming. And I don't think I went to the hospital that day. I don't remember, but it was a hot day, so everyone just thought I was dehydrated. She didn't really understand what I was going through, and that continued into high school as well. I continued doing that throughout high school and in college. Now, college was when this actually became a really big problem for me, because I was doing it every day. Before I went away to college, I had gained a whole lot of weight in my senior year of high school. It's not a whole lot of weight. I probably was maybe 15 or 20 pounds heavier than I am now. I was never like obese. I was never obese, but I was not happy with the way I looked. And I remember in my senior year, I was in a gifted program. I had finished pretty much all of the courses that I needed, and so we had a lot of elective classes and fun classes, and my friends were skipping school at the time, and I started skipping school with them. And of course, when I skip school, what else am I going to do? I'm going to go somewhere to go eat. So I would, third period, go out and go to Twin Donuts and get some donuts and stuff like that. Or I would go to McDonald's and get the whole big breakfast with the pancakes, sausage, all of that stuff. And then 2 periods later, I would go have lunch and go get 2 pizzas at our favorite pizza shop right outside of our high school. And then when I got home, I would do the same. I would go to like Popeyes or McDonald's or some other place and just eat a whole lot, and I wasn't worried about it because I knew I'm not gonna gain weight because I'm not gonna keep these calories. So by the time I got to college, I was nice and slim. I was exactly the weight that I wanted to be. I was probably about 135 pounds, which looks very slim on me at 5'8". I was about 135 pounds, and you know, I just thought I was it. I thought I was everything. I loved my weight at that time, but I had to deal with a lot of secrecy, obviously, because I didn't want anyone knowing what I was doing. And eventually it started to come to the surface. Intuition started to speak to me, and I started having dreams. I started having really bad dreams about myself losing my teeth, like my teeth falling out from the acid from purging after eating. I was doing it several times a day, maybe like 5 times a day, something like that. And I decided that I wanted to stop. So I started going to my school counselor in college to kind of deal with feelings that I had in regards to self-esteem issues. And I started researching nutrition. Now, I was in college for nursing, so I was already learning more about health at that time. I had taken nutrition courses in school, and I started studying about nutrition on my own. And I decided that I was gonna stop. I just didn't want to do it anymore. And what I started doing was actually counting calories. You know, I still didn't have it all together. I didn't have all the answers. I had tried a whole bunch of different diets, which of course don't work. Diets never work. I had started taking diet pills and all of those things, which really made me feel terrible. You know, I remember being up late at night after having taken certain diet pills, and I felt like I had taken crack or something like that. Like I couldn't sleep. I couldn't sleep at all. It was not good. It was not good at all. And so what I started doing was I started counting my calories. I learned that, you know, if I eat under 1,200 calories a day, I would be able to lose 1 to 2 pounds in a week. So I started writing out everything that I was eating and counting my calories, but I still didn't really quite understand nutrition. So I was still eating you know, McDonald's and things like that, but I would just eat it in proper proportion. I wouldn't overeat it. I wouldn't overdo it. I was just eating it in proper proportion. I started with diet drinks, which was terrible for me, but I didn't know at the time, and using a lot of 0-calorie sweeteners in everything. I was using that stuff in everything because I really wanted to keep my calories under a certain amount. And it did work, actually. That in combination with working out. I started trying to work out at the gym and I couldn't do it. I was too insecure at the time, and I just was like, I don't want to be the fat person in the gym. I know it's silly and it's ridiculous now that I look back at it, because that's what you're supposed to be. You know, everyone is there for self-improvement, but I was too self-conscious to do it. So I got into home workouts, and the thing that was very popular at that time was Tae Bo. I don't know if y'all remember Billy Blanks and Tae Bo, and I started working out doing Tae Bo, and whew, that was very difficult for me. I hated working out. I hated working out, and now that I look back, I realized that I really hated it because I didn't have the proper nutrition to give me the energy that I needed to do the workouts. I was not getting good nutrition, basically. But it worked for a time. It worked. And I did drop about 40 pounds. So let me backtrack. When I stopped binging and purging, I just went back to eating regularly, not overdoing it, but just eating as I normally would. And I gained about 40 pounds in my sophomore year. So I was very slim in my freshman year, and then sophomore year, I kind of, blew up a little bit. And I started hearing comments from people who knew me, which really pissed me off. People saying, well, what happened? Are you not working out, or are you looking a little chubby? And I was very sensitive about my weight at that time. So I did not like hearing those comments, and started working out really, really hard. I bought myself a treadmill, and it was very difficult. I mean, it was very difficult for me to get through some of those workouts, but I did it, and I did lose about 35-40 pounds, and I was more happy with my weight, but I did have certain areas that I didn't love, particularly my belly. That's, was a big insecurity for me. And I was very vain. I wanted to look a particular way. I was like, I'm doing all of this work and I still cannot get my stomach as flat as I want it to be. So I had graduated college, went on to nursing, and I started making enough money, good money, and I decided I was going to save up to get lipo on my stomach. And that's what I did. That's what I did. And it worked. It worked. And I don't regret doing it, because at the time I just didn't know any other option. I didn't know any other option. I felt like that was really the only thing that I could do. When I was working out, I was eating well to what I knew at the time. I did what I could with what I knew. And what changed for me was in 2015, when I had a car accident, and I started thinking about going towards a life of wellness for myself. Because you have to understand, once you see yourself as an able-bodied person, and then you experience something that puts you in a position where you're not able to even walk anymore, you're like, no, God, this is not what I want from my life. I need something different. I need to be well. I need to see myself whole and well and happy. And so I dedicated myself to a life of wellness. And the shift that happened in my mind was, when it comes to losing weight and being at a weight that I'm comfortable with, I started looking at food as a way to nourish myself, and treating my body in a way that was kind rather than abusive, because that's what emotional eating and disordered eating is. It's a form of self-abuse, and it comes from wanting to control certain things in your life because maybe you weren't able to control other things. And I started to realize that that's what I was doing. And at that time, I had actually started my journey with holistic wellness. I had been going that route for a few years, where I was researching eating organic. So I started to watch several different DVDs on food and the food industry. And I watched movies such as Food Inc., What the Health, Forks Over Knives, and I started to really understand why there were people who were going organic and going green. I watched the DVD Super Size Me, where this guy chronicled his experience with eating McDonald's every single day for a period of time, and he saw himself gain weight. Now, this was a person who was eating a vegetarian diet before that. It was pretty much had a perfect bill of health, and then he started eating McDonald's on an everyday basis, and he saw his health really decline over a short period of time. And that was when I started to make the connection with the type of foods that I was eating and my weight, not just my weight, but overall health and wellness, and why this was important. And I started to completely change my own diet. I got rid of the foods in my home that were genetically modified, that I knew had genetically modified ingredients, and I started to buy the organic version of food. This was probably around 2012. So I've been on this journey of healthy eating for about 8 years now. And prior to this, I thought that eating vegetarian or vegan was crazy. I thought it was so extreme. Can't believe that now. I thought it was so extreme. But at the time, my mind started to shift, and I knew that that was something that I needed to do, was plant-based eating. And I did not begin going vegan or vegetarian at that time. What I started doing was limiting my meat to about 3 to 4 times a week, and making sure that when I did purchase meat, it was clean. So my chicken would be organic, cage-free, antibiotic-free. Same thing with my eggs. If I had beef, it would be organic, grass-fed beef. So I started to become more conscious of the type of meat that I ate and where I got it from. And the first thing that I did on my journey was I started hearing about the number 21 and its ability to help you to break a habit. Anything that you do for 21 days forms a new habit. And so I said, I'm going to eliminate 5 particular things for 21 days. And that was meat, dairy, alcohol, coffee, and processed foods. Okay? So I eliminated those things for 21 days. And I lost about 18 pounds in those 21 days. And I felt amazing. I felt amazing afterwards. And I understood that tired feeling that you get. You know, we talk about the itis. You eat and you want to fall asleep. If you eat and you want to fall asleep right after, that food that you're eating is death food. Okay? You've heard people say that sleep is the cousin to death. That's real. And I have had that experience when I've been at family gatherings since then. This was maybe a year or 2 ago, because I'm really the only one in my family who eats this way, although some are starting to come around, like my mom is starting to come around. But when it's holidays or family gatherings, they still have a lot of death food, a lot of meat, a lot of crap that, you know, we consider to be soul food, which is really not. But I remember being at my aunt's place. It was for her birthday, and they made all this crap food that they normally eat, and I had to try to find something that I could eat. So I said, you know, I'll just have the potato salad, the greens, the rice and peas, and the mac and cheese. And when I tell you, I fell into a stupor, a sleep so bad. I mean, it felt like I was never going to wake up. My body just felt limp after I ate that food. And I said, oh, no. I cannot do this again. And I'm telling you that when you eat food like that and it makes you want to fall asleep right afterward, that's not food that you're supposed to be eating. That is not a good sign. It's not a good sign. But it was good for me to have that experience to remind myself that that's not what, you know, I need to be eating. And now when I eat food, I feel energized afterwards. That's what it's supposed to do for you. Food is fuel. So ever since I did that 21-day detox, I have been doing it 2 to 4 times every single year since then, and I've only gotten better and better and better. You learn new things every single time that you do it. You're never totally an expert. You never know everything. There's always more for you to learn, and mainly what you end up learning is you learn more about yourself, because you're detoxing your mind. You start to incorporate more things where it's not simply just about the food, because you know how to do the food already. I know how to do the food already, but when there are blockages in my life and I go through a detox, because during that time I'm journaling, I'm reflecting, I'm meditating more, I'm more conscious of it, pathways start to open up for me. And so, you know, a lot of people are watching me and saying, you're doing really good things in your life, you know, you look happier, you look like you're glowing, you know, what are you doing? This is what I'm doing. These things really change your whole entire life. It opens up pathways. It's a spiritual wellness journey as well. It's not just a physical thing. The food is very important for you to open up pathways for yourself in your life, and you're gonna need a lot of different tools in order to do that. I had vision boards with the body that I wanted. I had vision boards with water on it. I had vision boards with, you know, activities that I wanted to get into. Like I told you, I grew up in the home. I wasn't an active person. I was in the house all the time, and I smile now when I think about the fact that I'm out hiking all the time and doing yoga and being in beautiful environments, natural environments that make me feel good and really raise my elevation. I mean, that really raise my vibration. And I don't have the issues that I had before with self-esteem, with depression, with anxiety. All of those things started to melt away when I started to love myself and care for myself in a different way. And I started learning about the genetically modified foods that we are picking up, and understanding that I wasn't even eating food this whole time. I wasn't even eating food. And when I made that switch in my mind from eating emotionally and eating to soothe myself to eating to nourish myself and love myself and give my body the nutrients that it really needs, the micronutrients, the right carbs, the right fats, the right proteins, not only did I start to lose weight effortlessly, I maintained my weight effortlessly. And I have never had an issue with gaining or losing weight since. As a matter of fact, the heaviest that I've been is recently, since quarantine. I gained maybe 10 pounds or so. And I had a totally different reaction than I would have had earlier in my life, because I was still very comfortable in my body. I still loved my body. I still just fed my body well, and I decided, you know, it's time for you to get up out of the house. I started going on hikes like I was doing before. Started getting back into my yoga practice because I had gotten lazy. I was, you know, I guess enjoying the rest like most of us. And I lost the weight effortlessly. I didn't even really think about it. Got back down to my normal weight very effortlessly. And that was why I wanted to share this with you, because I know that it's not an easy journey. And excuse me if you see me like swatting myself like this, because I'm sitting outside and I feel these little bugs they just love me out here. So yeah, I wanted to share this because I know that weight loss and maintaining your weight is a very sensitive topic, and it is not easy, especially for women, because we're judged so harshly on our bodies, and we tend to judge ourselves very harshly. And what I want to do is encourage you to make the shift in your mind from eating from a place of trying to soothe yourself or just thinking only about taste, to thinking about what the food is doing for your body and using food as medicine, because it's not just a physical thing. My mind started to change. My mind, the way that I dealt with my emotions, I started to have more control over my mental and emotional health and stability when I changed the way I was eating. So it's extremely important, and that's why I'm so passionate about it today, and that is why that's why I have changed my focus as a healthcare worker from, just standard allopathic care to preventative medicine, natural medicine, which is your food. Your food, everything that you eat has a very significant effect on your whole body, on your mental status, on your emotional health as well. And before you let someone tell you that you have this disorder or this condition, think about your own power. Think about the power that you have to change your health. And that starts with what you put into your mouth every single day. Every single meal that you have is an opportunity to move yourself closer to wellness and further away from illness and sickness and taking pills that I know you don't want to take. Nobody wants to be taking a whole bunch of medication and pills if you don't have to. And I'm not telling anybody to stop taking anything that they're taking. That's something that you need to discuss with your doctor. But what I'm saying is, if you cultivate wellness in your life and you cultivate a healthy body, you won't need them. You won't need them, I see it every single day. I see it every single day with doctors who, ask their people, well, what are you doing? What are you doing? Everything is starting to normalize. Everything is starting to look good. What have you been doing? And because I've been there, I know what it is. I know what it is when I stop taking every medication. I am no longer on medicine for anything, any condition. And I've had more than one, which I'm going to discuss in the series. So I know that it can be done. And I want to encourage you on your wellness journey as well. So if you have any questions, or if you're looking for someone to guide you on your wellness journey as a naturopathic health and wellness consultant, that's what I'm here for. You can find my information in the description bar at kemeticwellness.com and book yourself a consultation and get started on your own wellness journey. I love you, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.